Ken Dilanian, you cover the Justice Department extensively. Are you shocked by this ruling from Judge Boasberg today?
I'm not shocked, but it is an incredibly rare thing to see a judge quash grand jury subpoenas because Jeanine Pirro is right. A grand jury can investigate almost anything for any reason. Its dealings are secret for that purpose, and it gets to gather information, even about rumors. But what she didn't address was that grand juries can't do this unless they're doing it for proper cause in good faith. And that's what Judge Boasberg's opinion said. It said that this clearly was not in good faith. He began the opinion by quoting Donald Trump on Truth Social, insulting Jerome Powell, calling him a loser, and saying he needed to lower interest rates. And he developed abundant evidence throughout his lengthy ruling that Donald Trump, what he really wants out of the Fed is for them to lower interest rates. And the law does not allow the executive branch to bully and control the Fed like that. And Boasberg said it's abundantly clear, the evidence is clear, that this investigation is simply a pretext, that there is no evidence, in fact, to support a notion that Powell committed a crime. But there's lots of evidence that they want to harass Powell to get him to do their bidding. And that is an extraordinary thing. We've not seen something like that before. Of course, the Justice Department looks at this and says, wait a second, we don't want other criminal defendants making similar arguments. And so we're going to appeal this all the way. They see this as an institutional prerogative for them. They're very concerned about it. And of course, MAGA activists are denouncing Boasberg as an activist judge, as a leftist, but he's not. He's a down the middle, well-respected jurist. He went to St. Albans School in D.C., a conservative religious school, on to Yale. He was at Skull and Bones, which is a conservative secret society where the Bushes were members. George W. Bush elevated him first to the bench, and then Barack Obama promoted him. But he is not considered an activist judge or a leftist by any standard, but he is clearly very exercised about what he saw with this investigation, guys.
I want folks to look at literally a Truth Social post from the President of the United States just yesterday. Quote, where is the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Tule Powell today? He should be dropping interest rates immediately, not waiting for the next meeting. This goes to the heart of Judge Boasberg's argument. And I want to jump off of, Sky, a point that Ken just made, of why and how, as somebody who has been a part of these legal battles against the Trump administration, how will potential other defendants be able to use the ruling from Judge Boasberg
Look,
today?
we have a saying around our team at Democracy Forward, we're in court literally every day, where we say, let them keep talking, let them keep tweeting. And that's what you see in Judge Boasberg's ruling. It's a rare ruling, but this is a rare circumstance where you have the President of the United States who is constantly trying to seek retribution against Jerome Powell, against others. And so you have him drawing out, there's pages and pages in the opinion of all of the things that the president has said. So this is just the latest rebuke of the administration and this retribution agenda, which is it's an improper purpose for the purposes of this subpoena, but it's also totally unconstitutional for a number of reasons. I also think it's important to just remind everyone, like, if this went to a grand jury, this president has not been able, and this Department of Justice has not been able to prevail in front of grand juries, even on a number of issues, right? Because they're really trying to push a retribution agenda as opposed to try to push justice in the law.
You know, Ken, you mentioned that the Justice Department is pushing this all the way up the ladder in their appeal because they're concerned about what this ruling could mean for them and the other cases they're looking at bringing and so forth. But they should be concerned because they shouldn't have brought this case in the first place, which is essentially what the judge said to them. This opinion, in my opinion, is a full-on indictment of this administration, this Justice Department, for its approach to the rule of law and how they have weaponized the legal system against, individuals, against institutions in a way that has landed them in court, have landed them on the ropes with great opponents like our guest at the table, Sky Perryman and her organization, and others. When you're hearing them say these things, that we're going to keep pushing this, you also have Tom Tillis today urging the department not to appeal. He puts out a tweet saying this ruling confirms just how weak and frivolous the criminal investigation of Chairman Powell is. And it is nothing more than a failed attack on Fed independence. We all know how this is going to end. And the D.C. U.S. Attorney's Office should have itself further embarrassment and save itself further embarrassment and move on. Appealing the ruling will only delay the confirmation of Ken Warsh and the next Fed chair. Full stop. That's the bottom line. How does your reporting back that up? Because I know it does. You got to hear it.
You know what's interesting? Yeah, I mean, what's interesting, Michael, is that Donald Trump is his own worst enemy in this regard, because the smartest thing for them to do if they wanted to weaponize the justice system, if you believe, and a lot of people do, your view of how this is going is to shut up and just do it and order her to conduct the investigation, but don't talk about it. But instead, by going out in public and insulting Jerome Powell and publicly proclaiming that Powell must lower interest rates, he's given Boasberg all this evidence to say that this investigation is not on the level. So we're sort of thankfully, that is the situation, and they're not smarter about how they are deploying the Justice Department against their political enemies, because it's really indisputable, as you said, that they're doing that. I mean, my reporting from people inside the Justice Department, from people in the court system, from FBI folks, I mean, no one is suggesting that that's not happening. Even Trump officials themselves. I mean, you heard Susie Wiles in an interview essentially acknowledged that Donald Trump was seeking to use the Justice Department to go after his enemies. And again, we should remember, this is not something we've seen in the 50 years since Watergate. This defies a norm that was established after that scandal, where there was independence between the DOJ and the White House. There is not that independence in this administration.